was called Midnight.
I've been here before.
Just as I predicted.
Doctor Who Season 2 Episode 3 The Well is finally out. Our unexpected sequel, which in a way was kind of expected by the end, I think, with all the clues Russell had given, with all the marketing, with all the theories flying round. I feel like most people kind of knew that the Midnight entity would indeed be making a return.
What is this planet called?
6767.
The old name.
It was called Midnight.
But was its return justified? Could this story have worked with just a completely new villain? Did it need the connection to Midnight? Well, join me in my review today as I break down all of my thoughts on Doctor Who Season 2 Episode 3 The Well. I'm going to go through it all in chronological order, so as ever, we'll start at the start.
Have we been invaded? Or hit by a meteor? Or swatted by a giant moth?
I absolutely love how serialised this season has been so far. I reckon by the time we reach next week, episode 4 will break the streak of just continuous adventures, but the fact that this has flown from episode 1 straight into Lux, straight into, I love that they're still in their costumes for the prior episode at the beginning of each story. It feels bingeable as well, which is exactly what you want on streaming. I think one of the biggest downfalls of season 1 was when you went from Space Babies to The Devil's Cord, and there was just like a 6-month time jump, and we didn't get to explore exactly how the Doctor and Ruby bonded, whereas here we've got the Doctor and Belinda at every turn. You can see her slowly starting to enjoy these adventures. She does still want to get home, but she now trusts the Doctor after Lux. All the character stuff is building up really, really nicely. And I don't know whether they're going to make it a staple of the season or the show going forward, but I do enjoy the, let's put on our new clothes, and they run up the ramp, then you get that iconic shot. I think this is the 3rd time we've had it now. They obviously did it in The Devil's Cord, and the choice of music as well. I have no idea whether that was in the original script or if someone suggested it afterwards, but I did think it's hilarious, because I've rewatched the episode for this review. I thought it's hilarious how you've got Britney Spears' Toxic in an episode that goes this dark and this creepy by the end of it, but it flows, it works, and I love how quick we're just thrown into the adventure. I do think one of the immediate things, which I think it runs throughout the whole series, the episodes need to be longer. I have no idea why, especially when it's on streaming. Streaming is seemingly the priority, because it comes onto iPlayer first, it goes onto Disney Plus first, then it gets aired. Episode 6 of this season might not even be aired on TV. They're clearly prioritising streaming, so why is there this enforcement of 45-minute episodes? I think this episode, to be fair, was a whole minute and a half longer than usual, but I don't know, I just think that they could all benefit with an extra 5 to 10 minutes. The Chibnall era, I think most episodes were about 50 minutes long, which, it's only an extra 5 minutes, but it does help. Anyway, the Doctor and Belinda are thrown right in at the deep end after a really nice scene in the TARDIS, where Belinda does the usual, can you get me home, can I be safe? And the Doctor makes a promise. He outright promises her, Belinda, I will get you home.
That is a promise.
You can't promise.
I can. I will. I do.
I think there's also been a heavy emphasis on Belinda's parents as well, and we know, thanks to, I think, the casting company who cast the actor who plays Belinda's dad, accidentally leaked it before they should have, but we know that Belinda's parents will crop up later in the season, and I think they're making a big deal out of it. The Doctor says as well, I will make your dad laugh.
I will meet your mum and dad, and I will make your dad laugh.
And my immediate thought when I heard that, because I know the mind of Russell T Davies was, okay, is her dad gonna, the last thing he does before he dies, the Doctor, makes him laugh, or something like that, to pay it off really nicely. In saying laugh, I've just thought, the giggle laugh from last week, I have no idea. You guys can make a theory out of that if you want, but I'm just telling you now, something to do with Belinda's parents is going to come back, and it's going to be really sad. Whether it be Belinda dying, or one of them dying, and the Doctor making them laugh to comfort them, something like that. Do you know what I mean? I can sense it. I will, though, pull out my usual Doctor Who, actually, question of, right, I love the sequence, they go up, they get changed into the, how on earth do they know and have the exact same spacesuits as the spacesuits on that station, and why don't they have the helmets, but the helmets are on the station ready for them? I was kind of expecting them to put on the orange spacesuits, because we know the Doctor has those kicking about. They were literally in the show in Power of the Doctor a couple of years ago, but I don't know, they just put on these new spacesuits and it feels a little bit random. Like, why do they have them? Why don't they have the helmets? And do you know what I mean? But that it's really not that deep. I have got to compliment as well Ncuti Gatwa's performance once again. I don't know what it is about him this season, but it is leagues above. And that's not to say season 1 was bad for his performance, but it's so many leagues above it. Like, his Doctor just feels like they've got so much more depth. He's not always at 100% happiness. Like, there is a darker side. Like, there's something not untrustworthy or dangerous about him, and maybe it's just Belinda's reaction to the Doctor. Even though she trusts him now, there is still like a genuine danger. Like, he feels more mysterious, which I think is much better for ramping up the stakes and ramping up the tension. Ncuti's performance is just brilliant, and as well, like, yes, the 15th Doctor does cry in this episode, and technically I did miss it last week, but he does cry in Lux very briefly. But I feel like none of the crying moments of this season have pulled you out of the story or felt out of place at all. Like, I think today's episode especially, I mean, like, in the original Midnight story, David Tennant, I think he does let a tear loose. He does cry. And yeah, I thought it was justified here. And while I'm just, we'll come to the Midnight Entity soon, but the music in this episode, it took me right back to like the 2008 series and that vibe, when I think it's got to be like the Midnight Creatures theme. But whatever that piece of music is, it slaps.
Squadron leader Chinchapa.
Well, I'm higher than Chinchapa, see?
Anyway, they're immediately held at gunpoint. Now, I really liked the way they got out of this. Like, I don't think we've had the psychic paper actually explained to us in this new Disney Plus era. So American viewers who are watching for the first time, or anyone outside of the UK, might be a bit like confused by how he's just showing a blank piece of paper, because he does it in the church on Ruby Road as well, but I don't think they ever explain it there either. But I really liked the way they got out of this. I think the duo of the Doctor and Belinda, they just work so well. Maybe that's the reason I think 15 as a Doctor works so much better this season. Like, the way those two play off of each other, and Belinda saying like her little improvisation of, oh, we're mystery shoppers, I thought was very funny, and it's believable enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not too silly, it is funny, and it's something that you could kind of see, like, it's what the companion's for. It's the audience surrogate. Like, if I was there, I'd probably try and improv my way out of it alongside the Doctor and come up with something like Mystery Shopper. It's also really interesting to me, this is like one of the first times when you actually think about it, that we've had this many people in expensive spacesuit costumes in Doctor Who. Like, obviously in Oxygen, you've got a lot of spacesuits, but they're not this sort of high-tech, and I feel like you never see them all in the same shot. Whereas here, you've just got like 14 people. I think, was it 14? It might be less or more, I can't remember, but roughly 14 people in full-on spacesuits. In, like, do you know what I mean? The Disney budget, once again, is really shining through, which I don't want to just keep comparing them, but this feels to me like if we'd started with season 2 instead of season 1, I feel like the public perception of the show would be 10 times better, because without fully spoiling my thoughts on this episode, I do think we've had like a nice home run, I guess, if we're using a sports analogy, of 3 solid episodes, like really solid episodes. I think the Robot Revolution, I gave like an 8 out of 10. Lux, I gave like an 8 out of 10 as well. I won't spoil my ranking for this episode yet, but it's a solid one. Anyway, you've got this big ensemble, and there's a few notable people, like there's the captain, there's that guy, Cassio, I think his name is, and then there's a couple of others. I think a lot of them kind of blend into the background, but it makes sense because you can't properly flesh out all of these characters. The main two are obviously the captain and Cassio, who are like bickering, and I did like Cassio's immediate distrust of the Doctor, because I think if everyone immediately trusted this stranger who just sort of appeared and is asking silly questions, it would be a little bit like, yeah, the Doctor should be in control, but he shouldn't be able to control the room that easily. Whereas I liked the fact that there was that little mutiny bit midway through. I also thought the line of like, "It's not appropriate to call me babes," was quite funny. I feel that's got to be Ncuti's catchphrase now. Like that's the 15th Doctor's thing. He will be remembered forever as the Doctor that said babes to everyone. Now, I thought the initial going into the mining base, like the abandoned mining base, was really, really cool, really nicely done. The mystery and the setting up of the why are all the mirrors broken? You sort of sat on the edge of this seat, wondering like, where's this going? Initial thought was potentially Weeping Angels, if it's like, because obviously you trap them by them looking at themselves in a mirror. Why are all the mirrors smashed? But no, obviously you get the payoff from that later on. I thought the discovery of all the broken bodies and like trying to work out, like, was it a fight? Some of them have been shot, but some of them have just had all of their limbs broken. It was proper classic Doctor Who, like base under siege, let's investigate whatever's happened here. Which is one of the reasons as well I keep saying, like, Season 1 was so experimental, which in a way for long-term fans is quite nice. Like, the show was trying out a lot of new things, but I feel like this more tried and tested Doctor Who may have helped ingratiate itself within the public's, like, the general consciousness more. I mean, like, Robot Revolution, Lux, and this episode all feel like they're the three sort of archetypal Doctor Who stories. You've got your companion introduction, kinda silly RTD romp. Then you've got your like, oh, we're doing the plot arc, we've got a god here, ties back to a former villain, all of that run round in the past. Then we've got your future adventure, base under siege, alien attack. Speaking of alien attack, I think a really good point of comparison here, which I'm not going to say I was the first to make, a lot of people said it on Twitter, but Alien to Aliens. That's kind of what you could summarise the Midnight sequel as. I keep calling it the Midnight sequel, The Well. Like, you've got Alien, the film, which is about one alien, the xenomorph, oh no, scary, base under siege. Then now you've got Aliens, where there's a load of them. And I think, yeah, it's not necessarily as good as Midnight, but being as good as Midnight is no easy task. Like, I think it's probably one of the most iconic and well-written Doctor Who episodes of all time. Like, the script is just so tight that it's a nice homage, it's a nice way of doing a sequel, but it will never live up to Midnight. Anyway, the crew enter this base, and there is Rose Ayling-Ellis. Or at least that's the actress's name. I can't actually remember the character's name, but she did a fantastic job in that role. I really liked as well that, like, the Doctor knows sign language. Like, he doesn't even have to think about it, he just starts signing, which is such, like, it's a doctory thing, knowing every language. Even though, like, the TARDIS technically couldn't translate that one, he still knows it. This is what I keep saying about the Doctor just being that comforting presence, like feeling like he's in control. It's why Doctor Who historically has always worked, because you can show kids the scary, scary stuff, but if you've got the Doctor as the central character there that they know will comfort them, that they know will, like, at the end of the day be able to solve it, it stops it being too scary, if that makes sense. That was probably a waffly point, but yeah, point is, the Doctor's good at this episode. I also like how pivotal and key Belinda being a nurse is to her character. In every situation, it's putting people before herself, and I wonder whether that will come back to bite her as the season goes on, because she is so willing to, like, put herself in danger to help and save other people. Like the Robot Revolution, Lux, and now this, she's immediately, if there's anything she can help with, like the burn on the Doctor's hand, or someone being injured from the robots, or in this episode, the cut on Rose Ayling-Ellis's arm, she's in there. She's immediately like, I'm a nurse. I could see that becoming a bit of a meme as well, because it's every episode, but it's not a bad thing. It's good, it's a really strong character beat, and the dynamic of the Doctor and the nurse, it's fun. I also thought the subtitles thing was really cool. Like, that does feel like a natural evolution, which I imagine we'd reach in the point with technology. Like, I love little world building things like this, where you can see that happening in however many years' time in the future this is set. Like, that's a natural thing that humans would make. Then we reach a really interesting point in the story where the Doctor and Belinda both simultaneously find out that nobody's ever heard of Earth.
Human race, you've heard of that?
Not in these parts.
Human race? What's that then?
Has it been erased from the timeline? In Midnight, the original episode, it's made abundantly clear that this is like a human thing, isn't it? That like that spar planet is humans and various other species from the far future and making the spar. So why can't they... Do you know, it's weird, because if you can travel to well, not to Lux, but to Miami in the 1950s and Earth still be there, rather than the Earth being taken out of time, that almost implies that it gets destroyed on May 25th, which is the date that the Doctor and Belinda are still trying to get back to. So if it exists in the past but not in the future, surely it must be destroyed. So rather than it being a universal destruction on May 25th, it's probably something specifically to do with Earth, which is also why you get at the end of the Robot Revolution all those weird bits of like the Statue of Liberty or a London taxicab or the Eiffel Tower just floating around destroyed in space. It's happening to Earth. Whatever it is, it's an Earth-based event. And Mrs. Flood as well. We'll discuss that at the end, because we're going in chronological order, but what on earth is going on there? I'm incredibly intrigued, because it was giving Susan Triad vibes, but I don't... Right, we'll hold off on the Mrs. Flood talk. I liked the slow build-up of, like, human paranoia and superstition as well, with the whole, like Belinda says, like, oh, we've made it unlucky 13. That's how many crew members there were. 13. But no, she says, like, we've made it an unlucky 13. And all of these subtle little things in the dialogue, which are just showing humans make those scary connections on their own. Like, the Midnight entity, since its first appearance, isn't the thing that's scary, it's the way that it makes humans act. And before it's even properly sunk its teeth into any of the drama, humans, by their very nature, are being superstitious. Belinda's immediate thought is, oh, well, something bad might happen because there's 13 of us. All of this helps aid the fact that everyone goes a bit mental as the story goes on. Like, there is an absolute bloodbath. The dynamic between Cassio and the Doctor only gets better as the episode goes on. When he has that little mutiny, he's trying to take control, and the Doctor's just, do you know what I mean? They're two people which are just very opposed to the way they get things done. The Doctor's very free and silly and let's wide-eyed investigation, fun. Cassio's very, here's the procedure, this is what we're doing. He doesn't care about the pleasantries of it. Like, the Doctor wants to make sure that every character's feeling comfortable and safe. Cassio, he's doing it for the right reason. He just wants to make sure that everyone is safe. He doesn't care about the comfortability in the moment. He cares about procedure and saving each person by the end of it. One of the best scenes of the episode as well is when Belinda is, like, she starts spotting something behind Rose Ayling-Ellis's back. It did remind me of Turn Left a little bit, with the whole, there's something on your back. But yeah, they started spotting it, and you get all the close-up reaction shots, and you really see as well, I love the direction of this episode, and the edit as well, where it keeps cutting to people's faces. Like, it's such an ensemble cast, and the camera is constantly cutting to different faces to really show, like, the paranoia and the human side of it all creeping in slowly, like the mistrust of each person. person. Like, just subtle little glances, or there's one shot of Belinda like holding her head in like terror, I guess. Like, it's literally like a 1 second shot. Like they cut. Very nicely done. But yeah, this is where my first kind of criticism of the episode comes in. While it is a really nice scene, the whole like there's something on your back thing, did it need to be a Midnight sequel? Now, it's nice to have. It's nice to build a bit more lore around Midnight, I guess. But the creature operated... I think like, there's obviously similarities. Like, it used human fear against the humans, and it was kind of toying with them. But did it need to be the same creature? Like, you could argue the Wild Blue Yonder, Not Things creatures were very, very similar to the Midnight entity anyway. You could have left it as another sort of unexplained thing like that. Because the creature operated so differently in this episode to the way it did in Midnight. It was almost like two separate things. Like, I suppose there's the mystery of we'll never specifically know. I haven't actually seen Unleashed yet, but I think apparently you see the creature behind the scenes, which is obviously it's not within the episode, so it's technically like not canon, and it's just like a costume for some scary, shadowy shots. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was a nice reveal. We can talk about that scene. It's next in the chronological order of things, but the reveal that they're on Midnight and the flashback. I love this new era. Whenever we see like a prior villain, you get just a really quick couple of seconds flashback to their original story, like with the toy maker.
It was called Midnight.
I've been here before.
I think it's like a really nice way of showing the history of the show, just really quickly, like bam, this is when the Doctor met them before. It recaps the audience, especially because Midnight's a very memorable episode. Like, at least amongst fans or sci-fi fans, it's incredibly well regarded and well known. So I think the slow reveal and the music building of what's this planet, it used to be covered in diamonds, and then the reveal, it's Midnight, bam, I've met this creature before, and it was the most terrifying thing ever. Like, the build-up's really good. And as well, the Doctor, you often get lines in Doctor Who, whether it's in the trailers or the actual show, where the Doctor goes like, oh, this is the scariest thing ever, it's unexpected. But with the Midnight, like the backing of Midnight, and that quick flashback to David Tennant's face when he was like frozen by Sky Silvestri's Midnight entity thing, it's got something to live up to. Like, it immediately gives the vibes of like how you felt when you first watched Midnight. It's like, this is a danger the Doctor did not defeat. Like, in Midnight, the air hostess woman had to save the day. It wasn't up to the Doctor. He was like powerless. So in a way, it is nice to give him a second shot at defeating this entity, whatever it may be. And I've got to say, I am very glad that we didn't see it properly. Like, I know, as I say, I think it's the costumes kind of shown in Unleashed, but the fact that we didn't see it, like Time of Angels for me is the prime example of it made the Weeping Angels less scary when we saw them move. When you see too much or know too much about these creatures, I think it loses its impact, and I don't think it lost its impact here. The one thing I did note is that the Doctor's, I suppose it's only attributed to the creature by the Doctor's imagination, but the Doctor gives it a motivation.
He knows my name.
One of the best things I liked about Midnight is you never really knew what the creature was doing. Was it deliberately trying to be scary? Was it deliberately trying to haunt the crew and make them all go mad? Was it deliberately toying with them? Or was that just a side effect of it trying to sort of come into our existence, trying to replicate voices? I suppose by the end of the story, it's quite apparent that it is toying with them. Like, it's playing with its food. It enjoys causing the chaos. But yeah, it did... I don't know, does it slightly lessen the impact of Midnight, having the Doctor specifically say that is the creature's motivation? Probably not, actually. I started this point thinking maybe it does a little bit, but if we're being honest, by the end of Midnight, it's very clear that it's trying to toy with them. And also, the Doctor, if you want another canon explanation, the Doctor technically doesn't know. He just guessed. I think it also has good, like, playability, like, for kids in the playground. This is an episode I can imagine, like, back when we were all in primary school in the 2000s. I say we all as if everybody watching this is in my age group. You're probably not. But at any point in time, you could probably imagine playing this game in the playground. Oh no, there's something on your back, a little bit like grandmother's footsteps kind of thing. You can never go directly behind them, you have to keep your eyes on them, like all of that. It was very fun, classic Doctor Who ideas. Also, the Disney budget once again kicking in with the flinging of people across the room and breaking all their bones. It felt a little bit like Stranger Things-y, or just any of those sort of possession things, like a very horror film like, to just see bodies flying across the room. And it looked really good as well. The edit of it, as I mentioned earlier, was also really good. The constant, like, very quick cuts to different people's faces, different reactions, showing all of the humans. Even like a couple of the members of the team had, like, what, 2 lines, but you did feel like, oh god, they're gone. And it was such a bloodbath in about 30 seconds. They didn't do the usual Doctor Who thing of slowly killing them off one by one. It kind of just went BAM! Dead. Like, gone, gone, gone. And it was all human paranoia. I absolutely love the moment that the captain effectively kills Cassio. He's tried his little rebellion thing, he's tried his mutiny, he's tried to take power, and while that midnight creature's wiping everyone out, the captain identifies, one, for the kind of selfish reason of she's just been dethroned by him, and two, for the fact that he, although his intentions are good, he is causing chaos, and he is slowing them down, and he is posing a danger to people's lives. She just acts fast and gets rid of him.
Turn 180.
I was expecting the Doctor to maybe be a little bit more mad about that, and maybe have a bit of a go at her for killing him. But once again, it's this whole theming of paranoia and the entity getting into people's heads. I think there's also a couple, I'll have to go back and rewatch it, but when we're talking about the creature, I think you very vaguely see it behind Rose Ayling-Ellis's character's head, like just really blurred, like it's a tricky one to make out. Like, you know there's a presence there, but you never get to see what it actually is, which is the perfect way to do the Midnight Entity. Because I think in the original story you do see a really quick shadow like go across the diamonds, which is the Midnight Entity. I love as well that the Doctor knows what he's fighting, so he doesn't try and he doesn't get lured in by the pointing accusations and shouting at people. I've praised his performance enough in this video already, but he just does so well at that's the Doctor. He cares about every life. He wants the best outcome and he's trying his best, and it's really nice to see. I also thought it was a really fun idea, the little reveal. It's kind of like wordplay again from Russell, but if it was a clock face, if you look past midnight, you get killed.
You die at midnight.
Once again, it's that playground playability thing that Doctor Who does so well. I also love the shot. I think it's like one long shot where it goes into like a very extreme close-up of the Doctor's face as the tear rolls down, and he's hearing that whispering. Now, this is another interesting addition to the Midnight Entity, which I don't think was there in the original, but that whispering, I mean, I guess in a way it's there in the original when Sky Silvestri is shouting like, "It's coming for me, it's coming for me." She can probably hear it whispering to her. But I also think, is it not explainable because we never hear what it's saying, but does it humanise the creature a little bit too much? I think it might do slightly, because I almost preferred knowing nothing at all. Like, we know a couple of crumbs now, but knowing nothing about the creature in Midnight is, I think that's what made it so special. And I think this is my only point of contention with the episode, because it's a very well written, very well paced, fun adventure. But how necessary was it that it's a sequel to Midnight? Because you've had creatures like the Boneless in Flatline or the Not Things in Wild Blue Yonder, which are very similar to the Midnight Entity. And like this, once again, it was similar, but it didn't do what the Midnight Entity necessarily did before. I also talked earlier about the pacing. I think this is where it slightly gets let down. The resolution's it's a bit too, right, let's go, let's get to the end. Like they start reflecting light off things, and it's while the mirrors were smashed to get the payoff. If the creature sees itself, it leaves her back. okay, maybe I've misinterpreted, but I feel like that was kind of it. Which, it's a cool idea, but, like, why? How? Do you know what? I feel like they could have explored that maybe a little bit more, but I will have to rewatch, because it flowed nicely. It's only on reflection when I'm thinking, like, how actually does that work? I did love the little character moment as well. I couldn't tell whether it was ADR or whether we just didn't see the Doctor deliver the line toward the camera, but when he says to Belinda, "I want to see it," and you get that shot of it almost emerging round the corner, and it's all shadowy.
You can't stop!
I want to see it.
And you can't really see it. It does look a little bit too human, maybe, with its... But then I suppose it's crouched over a bit. But that was really nice from the Doctor, because that is such a Doctor-y thing to do. Do you know what I mean? He would want to see it. He'd want to investigate. He's faced this creature before and probably spent years of his life wondering what on earth it was. Of course he'd want to have a look. Then as well, I really enjoyed they're running down the corridors. It's typical Doctor Who, isn't it? Typical base under siege, running down corridors, Doctor Who. But they get the three characters in the lift, or the teleport, transmat, whatever it is that gets them back to the ship. And did you notice that on the airlock door, there's 6 little lights representing people? There's only 3 of them in the lift, but 4 of those lights are lit up, because the Midnight entity is in the lift with them and getting sent up to the top of the building. I thought that was really nice. I liked the captain's sacrifice and all of that, and as well, obviously, we've got to talk that scene with Belinda where it's on her back. I love the way that was directed and edited and written. The whole thing was so intense, of cutting between the Doctor's like, "I don't think it's on my back." They're all going, "I don't think it's on mine." And you can just tell by Belinda's face. Like, the second we got that first close-up of her, I was like, oh God, she knows it's on her back, but she doesn't want to say it, she doesn't want to admit it. And you get all the reaction shots. And then Belinda, is crying. It's such a fantastic performance from Varada Sethu as well. Like, her and Ncuti, they genuinely, it's too early to say, maybe, possibly, but they are shaping up to be... No, you know what, I don't care. They are shaping up to be one of the best Doctor-companion pairings in God knows how long. Like, I genuinely think they're so good together. Both of their performances are just A-tier constantly. But then obviously the captain sacrifices herself. She shoots, but this is the bit I was a bit confused on as well. It felt a little bit reminiscent of Boom from last season, where Ruby gets shot to try and save the day or whatever. But she shoots Belinda so that the creature goes onto her back. But why would it not just stay with Belinda if Belinda isn't fully dead? I mean, yeah, there's all this logic behind it, which kind of works. But it leaves Belinda's back, goes on her back. She runs, jumps into the well. I loved the little flashbacks to her as a kid running through that battlefield or whatever it was, with the narration she gave earlier played over the top of it. It was such a nice character thing. And then once again, the pacing, we just cut straight to the TARDIS. Belinda's in, she wakes up, and it was a nice little moment. I think maybe she should have been a little bit more apprehensive, she almost died there. I get that she'd be grateful because the Doctor saved her life, but also she'd be like, "You've got me in this position. I almost died." She should be a bit more terrified, but then I suppose it wasn't the Doctor's fault this time. But yeah, I don't know, I expected Belinda to be a little bit more apprehensive about the whole thing. And then, obviously, the little wrap-up of that, I think the Doctor tells them, or they say the Doctor's told them to just nuke the whole planet, which is probably for the best. But obviously the creature made it out. There'll be a sequel, however many years' time, there'll be a Midnight sequel. But yeah, planet gets nuked. And then that officer is talking to Mrs. Flood. What's she doing? I'm so confused. Because it felt like a Susan Triad inclusion from last season, rather than a Mrs. Flood inclusion. I know we saw her in Miami last week, but what's she doing here in full period, well, not period attire, but spacesuit Star Trek attire? Because I don't think it's a Susan Triad situation if Mrs. Flood has a load of clones that they don't realise that they're all... Do you know what I mean? They live their own separate lives. I don't think it's like that. But then, what's she doing? She's asking about the Vindicator, but why does she know it's called the Vindicator? The Doctor made that word up. I'm so intrigued. It baffles me. And it's a really cool mystery. And the only thing that annoys me, I just want to know. It's been so long, and if the answers are underwhelming, I might cry. It's been so long. How many theories about Mrs. Flood have we had at this point? Because the dots, whenever you think they're connecting, and I do respect this from Russell, like, it's very well done. Whenever you think they're connecting, he throws something like this into the episode where it makes you go, what? So you can never quite pinpoint down who Mrs. Flood is. I just hope that it all satisfyingly pays off. I'm going to make more theory videos on it. My brain's going to be working overtime to figure out who she was from this episode, so stay subscribed and stay tuned for that. I'm going to give this episode a solid 7.5 out of 10. Base Under Sieges are never my favourite style of Doctor Who story. I always love when it's like set on Earth in either like a period piece or the present day, and there's like alien shenanigans going on. Like the first 2 episodes of this season they're far more my favourite kind of style of Doctor Who, which I know might be controversial because Doctor Who is kind of built on Base Under Siege. Like the Patrick Troughton era is basically just all Base Under Siege stories. But yeah, I think I can still really appreciate the episode, and I still really enjoyed it. I think it was really well written, really well directed, and the acting, top notch. Everyone did a great job. Yeah, 8 out of 10. I think that's every episode of this series I've basically given an 8 out of 10. I'm going to lump it in with the 7.5 or 8 out of 10. I haven't fully made my mind up, but yeah, those 3 episodes, really solid start. Lucky day next week. Subscribe. I mean, I've got one video talking about previews for that episode already. Go and check that out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you.
She's not seen a single episode.
I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.